If you're planning on selling the home that you're currently living in and buying another home, there are 3 different strategies that you can choose from to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. The first strategy that you can choose from is to buy a home first and then sell the home that you're currently living in, or you can make an offer on a home that is subject to the sale of your home, or you can sell your home now and then go and buy another home. Each of these strategies are fine, and each has their pros and cons depending on your risk tolerance, financial situation, and priorities. You can decide which strategy is most favorable to you. Let's talk a little bit about the first strategy, which is to buy a home first and then go ahead and put the home that you're currently living in on the market. This strategy is probably the most convenient one to use in that you know exactly where you're going before you put the home that you're currently living in on the market. But this isn't the strategy for everyone because there is a risk that you'll own 2 properties for a period of time. This would happen if the house that you're currently living in doesn't sell before you take possession of the house that you just bought. For this to be the right strategy for you, you'd have to be A, okay with the possibility that you may end up owning 2 properties for a period of time, and B, you'd have to make sure that it's okay with your bank for you to own 2 properties for a period of time. The next strategy that you have available to you is to make an offer on a home that is subject to the sale of the home that you're currently living in. So essentially what you're saying to someone is, I want to buy your home, but before I can make that happen, I have to sell my home first. The upside to this strategy is that you don't have to move unless you're moving into the particular home that you just made an offer on. But because your offer is subject to the sale of your home, the sellers of the home that you're buying can't be sure that your home is ever going to sell. So what they do is they insert clauses into the agreement that you make with them that keep their options open and also protect their interests. The first clause that the sellers are most likely to insert into the agreement that you've just made with them is commonly known as a 24-hour clause or a 48-hour clause. What this clause allows the seller to do is up until such a time that you have sold the property that you're currently living in, the seller of the home that you just made an offer on can continue to market their property. And if they do get another offer from a third party before you've sold your home, then they can accept that offer. So what would happen in this case is if the third party made an offer on the home that you just made an offer on, the sellers of that home would turn to you and say, we've just received another offer that we find acceptable. We are now giving you 24 hours or 48 hours to waive all your conditions. And if you don't, we're going to accept the offer from the party that's interested in the house. The second clause that the sellers will want to insert into the contract that you've just made with them is they'll only give you a certain amount of time to sell your home. Usually it's like 30 days or 60 days. So if your home doesn't sell in the 30 days or 60 days that they've given you, then the deal that you have with the seller becomes null and void. Offers that are made subject to the sale of the buyer's home aren't considered very strong offers, and sellers don't look at them as very attractive offers. So when they do accept an offer that's subject to the sale of the buyer's home, they typically don't negotiate that much off their asking price. They kind of act like they're doing you a favor, and so if you do want to buy their home, you've got to pay a premium. And because you've only got 30 days or 60 days to sell the home that you're currently living in, you might end up accepting less money for that home than if you would have had more time to sell it. So when you consider the fact that you're paying premium for the house that you're buying, and then you're accepting possibly less for the house that you're selling, if you combine the two, the convenience of making an offer that's subject to the sale of your home usually costs around the neighborhood of $15,000 or so. And the third strategy that you have available to you to get you from where you are now to where you want to be is to sell your home first and then go and buy your next home. The upside to this strategy is because you've got no pressure to sell your home, you can take your time and you can sell your home for the very best price possible. And once you've sold your home, then you can go and you can find another home and you can make a very strong offer to that seller and get the best deal possible for that home. And the downside to this strategy is once you've sold your home, you've only got X amount of time before you have to be out of there, and that means you have to find your next home before you have to be out of the house that you're currently living in. What we typically do in a situation like this to avoid stress and to give you plenty of time to look for your next home is when we're negotiating a deal with the buyer for the home that you're currently living in, we negotiate as long a possession date as possible, and that way you have lots of time to find another property once you've sold your own home. I hope you found this video somewhat informative and that you have a little more clarity as to how you can get from the house that you're currently owning to the house that you want to own. If you do own a home now and you want to move to a different home, I'd be happy to meet with you and discuss these strategies again in more detail and help you to decide which strategy would be best for you.